What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Denise Salcedo, and I'm super ecstatic to have these two guests for today. My guests are multi-time tag team champions in WWE, TNA. We got none other than Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boyz. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing very good. Doing very good. We are hanging in South Carolina, and we're super excited about this weekend. Going to be two huge television tapings for TNA at the Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium. And we're going to be wrestling both nights. Friday night, myself and Jeff, for the first time ever, are taking on ABC. That's the first time ever match. And then I hope we don't kill each other, beat each other up too much that first night, because the second night, we're teaming with those guys in an 8-man tag against all of the system. Moose, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Dango.
Yeah, and we got 2, possibly 3 new tag team moves to try out. So that's always exciting.
I was about to say that definitely does sound exciting, but let's get right into it. You mentioned these 2 big matches that you have coming up. Of course, you've been feuding with the system now for months and whatnot. So I want to start there. This feud, so much has happened. We've seen, the Hardy House compound come back into play. We've seen, unfortunately, Jeff get taken out by the system. There's been quite a bit. Talk to us about how you have felt feuding with them and how this experience has been so far in TNA.
I've absolutely loved our TNA experience thus far. And I like the fact that we have a story where it's myself and Jeff. It starts off with me versus Moose. My goal is to win the TNA World title. And then Jeff comes and saves me at the very end of that after they screw me out of the match. And then we have like this new journey where myself and Jeff want to have that great one last final tag team run, or, a great, cementing moment where we become, one of the greatest tag teams of all time by winning another tag team title, another major tag team title in our 4th decade, by the way, because we won titles in the 90s, we won them in the 2000s, we won them in the 2010s, and this would be our first title in the 2020s. So that is what myself and Jeff, that our goal is right now. But I love the fact there's been so much to sink our teeth into in this story, and there's been like twists and turns, and it's still ongoing. And now we're in a really unique situation because ABC wants a rematch against the system, because they obviously held the titles and they beat them for them, and they had it for a little while. But we beat the system twice. We want a match, so I think there's something brewing here between us, ABC, and the system. So it's going to be really interesting how it all pans out.
Yeah, and I hadn't been watching TNA until one morning my wife said, "Hey, honey, did you know Matt was going back to TNA?" I said, "No, I had no idea." And then I watched the footage. I was like, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." And then I thought about all the good memories and moments I created for my career and for TNA back in the day. And I was like, oh my God, that was such a good run for me both times before. So everything kind of just felt right. Me returning to tag with Matt, and then being behind the scenes before I appeared, kind of like Joe Hendry. I was blown away by the talent there. And it still inspires me every week.
So I remember, actually, Matt, you mentioned that when we did our interview a couple months ago, when you had said that you didn't tell anybody, that not even Jeff knew that you were going back to TNA. So hearing you and your perspective of that, it's kind of funny, actually, how that all ended up coming about. So, with that being said, the last time that we saw you guys together, that was over in AEW. Now you're here in TNA. How different has it been getting to be with TNA once again together as a team in comparison to a little bit of what you guys were previously doing?
What do you think, Jeff?
I think the biggest difference is just, Matt just amazingly turned 50, and I'm 47 now, and to still be, having matches and doing this craft that we grew to love at a very young age is just so inspiring in itself. And it's just, we had a match with this team called First Class a few weeks ago, and that was a huge confidence booster for me, because it was fun again, and the energy in the place, the vibe, everything was right, and that just made me so excited to have less fear and do what we do out there, remain extreme, innovative, and creative, and the Hardys, just do what we do.
And just something, to touch on something, he just was talking about Victory Road and the match that we had with First Class, and how it was a big confidence booster for him. Like, we had a post-show meet and greet, and we're doing both nights, Friday and Saturday. We'll be on both post-show meet and greets here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, because this is Hardy country, and we're excited about that. But our post-show meet and greet, someone told us as we're sitting there signing, and it was pretty late in the night too. They said, do you know your guys signing went longer than the show? Because the actual premium live event of Victory Road went 2 hours and 53 minutes. And our signing was 3 hours and 12 minutes. So it was wild. But once again, it's also so humbling and flattering that people are willing to stay in line for 3 hours for our autograph, and we're 32 years deep into this. I feel like we have such a great legacy in pro wrestling, and we were able to pop off and get real hot whenever wrestling was hot during the Attitude Era, and we kind of created the ladder match and the table match and the TLC match. All that stuff kind of rolled into one, and like myself, Jeff, Edge, Christian, and the Dudleys will always kind of be like looked at as the forefathers of those matches. But we were able to innovate so many different things throughout the years. People look at us as like a legacy act, and they're like, "Oh my God, I hadn't met the Hardys. I would love to meet them." And I feel like in TNA management gets how to optimize the usage of us, and they put us in positions to succeed, where we highlight our strengths, and they use us in the way we should be used, like as stars, guys who are like, generational legacy performers who can still work, on a pretty high level when it's all said and done. We're not guys that are going to go out there and give you a 5-star match every single night and create, all these crazy different wild moves and whatnot, but we are guys who we can go out and we can tell a story, we can be involved in it, and we can have a good solid match, and we can keep people's attention invested into us because they'll become emotionally invested in what we're doing if you just let us do our thing. And that's what I think has been so great about TNA and this ongoing rivalry with the system, with us wanting to procure the TNA World Tag Team titles, I think is really going to pay off big in the very end.
No, I love that. And like hearing you kind of just like break that down, that was a little bit of what I was thinking about was with that. One of the things that I noticed with your guys' run in TNA is really that the use, it really is highlighting you guys the way that it should be. It's like, it's the Hardy Boyz, like come here, get excited. We're about to see the Hardys. And of course you mentioned all of the great memories and whatnot, but that's what everybody, thinks about the second they hear your guys' name. They think about like these really awesome moments. And so like with that being said, going back to TNA, obviously you guys mentioned having been there before. How much more different was it this time around coming in this new phase of your career?
Jeff has done more TNA than I have, obviously, in the past. But I mean, from my run from 2014-ish or so to 2017, whenever I came back and we won the tag titles, and then I ended up being Big Money Matt and Broken Matt. Like it was great during that time period, but that's kind of following the Monday Night War era with them. And they had kind of, they went through a lot of their money. And I think the product it was trying to find its way on like what was going on. And there were times right towards the end of our run where Anthem was just buying the company. And like, part of the whole Broken Universe is kind of what kept the company afloat and alive, so that it could go to a new owner. And I think once Anthem started with the company, I think some of the people who were in charge weren't necessarily wrestling people and didn't understand. But I think now Anthem has addressed it. And there's more wrestling people that are working very hands-on and they know what's going on. And they really have kind of figured it out. And I think they have a great formula because I think if you watch their show, if you watch Impact, they're very consistent. They have great continuity with their storytelling across the board from top to bottom on the show. And I think they're doing a really good job of telling stories, compelling stories, and putting people in positions to succeed.
Yeah, and I watch every wrestling show back like that airs during the week, the next morning, because I go to bed very early these days. But I watch it back and I get real excited, especially the way TNA is produced now with the slow motion. I love the way it looks, the way it feels when I'm watching it back, and I'm still getting comfortable and used to everybody in the locker room, and starting to feel like home big time. So I love the way it all comes together week to week, and I'm so excited to just make it as good as we possibly can, or as best as it can be.
That's so awesome. No, I love to hear it. Okay, so I do want to go ahead. We could talk forever, but I do want to go ahead and play a little game that I kind of put together for you guys. So I was thinking about this and I was like, all right, what can we do that would be different? So I'm going to put you guys on the spot here, and quiz you guys with how well do you know each other. So I'm going to ask you a question about your brother, and you guys basically say whether or not it's correct or not correct. So let's do this. We're going to go ahead and start with Matt. So Matt, these questions will all be about Jeff. So here we go. Question number 1. What is Jeff's pre-match ritual?
Paint his face. Right before he goes out, he does some stretching and he wets his hair. That's one of his last steps. He wets his hair because he does it very carefully so he doesn't mess up his face paint.
Jeff, is that correct?
That's pretty correct. Yeah.
I was going to say, did he miss anything?
I do meditate a little bit before you. That's the new thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm very strange in my meditation these days.
I love it. All right. Same question for Matt. Matt, who is Jeff Hardy's favorite opponent?
Umaga.
Is that true?
That's very true. Super true.
All right. So you're 2 for 2 so far. All right. Number 3. What does Jeff consider the craziest thing he's ever done?
It may actually be the swanton he did off some perch that went over the stage onto Abyss at a Bound for Glory in 2005. We talked about it earlier. I think that's because that was probably one of the. It could have went really bad, if it didn't work out. So that would be my guess.
Yeah, totally correct. Sketchiest swanton I've ever done.
Oh man! All right, you're 3 for 3. Last one. Does Jeff like to watch back his matches?
He watches back his matches. It is not urgent. Sometimes if I say oh, the match was really good, you should watch it back. He's like, okay, I'll try and check it out. But he's not someone that's it's the first thing he does. But he usually does watch his stuff back later on, a couple days after. He's in no rush.
Is he right?
He's pretty much right. I'm a little more critical about my work these days, I guess. For example, that match we've recently had with First Class, when I watched it back, it was a huge confidence booster for me. It was just so much fun out there. And so, yeah, I would say he's right.
All right. Well, Matt, congrats. You got them all right. All right. Now let's go ahead and quiz Jeff. So these questions will all be about Matt. So here we go. Question number 1. What is Matt's favorite career moment?
Us returning at WrestleMania 33.
Yeah, that's might very well be right. Yeah, that'd definitely be one of the top 3 I would list.
I love that. Question number 2. What does Matt Hardy most like to do for fun?
Oh, gosh. I would say now for fun, family time. I would say it's time with his boys and his little daughter.
Yes.
And just being the best father and husband he possibly can be.
I love that. All right. Question number 3. Who is Matt's favorite wrestler?
Favorite wrestler of all time. I'm gonna go out there and say the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
I would say he's probably overall, but that's still kind of Macho Man. Randy Savage holds a very special place in my heart.
Yeah.
But I would say favorite wrestler that kind of inspired both myself and my brother would probably be HBK, Shawn Michaels.
So yes to getting it right, or do we ding a point? What do you think, Matt? This is all you.
I think we can call that right.
Okay. And
yeah.
Last one. Where is Matt's favorite place to wrestle?
Matt's favorite place to wrestle would have to be Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Correct.
The closest arena to our home.
That's probably both of our favorite place to wrestle.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so it's safe to say you guys both know each other very well. Now, we do have a few minutes left, so I'm going to throw in this bonus round here. I'm just keeping you guys on your toes here. All right, so we got 8 questions, and basically this is just who is the better at whatever it is that I ask you. And I'm curious to hear your guys' take on this. So here we go. Right. Who's the better dancer?
Jeff.
All right. I love how Jeff was like, yes, it's definitely me. All right. Question number 2. Who is better at keeping a secret?
That's probably a tie.
Yeah.
I would probably say that's a tie. We're both kind of old school in that manner.
Yeah, I agree.
Question number 3. Who is more pessimistic and optimistic?
I am super optimistic. I am probably the most optimistic person you'll meet. So I would say I'm probably the most optimistic of us 2.
All right.
And I kind of feel like I am now too. I'm very optimistic about everything in life. So, yeah, I'm way more optimistic now than I was, 10 years ago.
I love it. All right. Number 4, who usually wins an argument between the both of you?
Oh gosh, I can't even think of the last time we had an argument.
Yeah.
We in our own mind, in our own minds, we both probably think we won.
Yeah, and it's probably Matt. Even if I lied about it, I'm wrong all the time. I'm very good about that. I'm very good at saying I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I was wrong. It was me. I'm sorry. It's my fault.
I mean, I try to do that a lot. I have to do that a lot with my wife. Like, look, okay, you're right. It was me. Sorry. I'll be accountable.
Happy wife, happy life.
I'm not going to argue with you unless you go nuts speaking Spanish and cursing me.
Question number 5. Who's the one who jokes around more?
I want to say we're kind of equal.
Yeah,
too.
I would almost say we're pretty similar in the amount. Not one of us is a much bigger jokester than the other one.
Okay. Question number 6. Who is a better cook?
That'd be Jeff, I bet.
Probably so. At one point back, we used to do this thing called the Hardy Show, and we did an episode called Chef Jeff, and I made everybody chicken and some pork chops or something.
A lot more.
But yeah, I do. I cook every now and then, and I've learned so much from my wife. So I can own that.
All right. Question number 7. Who is pickier when it comes to food?
Nah, that's probably him.
It could be me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a slob.
As far as healthy eating, I'm crazy picky. I'm real nutty when it comes to like healthy eating, and I take it to the extreme, kind of just like our wrestling careers.
That's perfect. All right, and last one: who is more competitive?
That's probably me.
That's
that's me. Yeah.
I've always been a believer in as to embrace second place.
Yeah. So I mean, I a lot of times I think about this. Like, I wish I could go through the world with like his mentality, just like nothing, no big deal. No matter if it's good or bad, like, whatever. No big deal.
It's definitely Matt on that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love it. Alrighty, guys. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview and also to play these games. It was kind of fun to get to know you guys in a totally different way, aside from pro wrestling. And I know the fans are going to appreciate that too. Before we go, please let the people know where they can watch TNA and as well as the upcoming shows.
You can watch TNA every single week, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Access TV, if you get that. And if you don't watch it on Access TV, you can subscribe to the TNA Plus app, and it is great too. Actually, I have that, and I've had that for a while. It's a really, really cool deal. And this Friday, myself and my brother and all of the stars of TNA are going to take over Spartanburg. We're going to be at the Memorial Auditorium. It's going to be a huge night of TV tapings. We'll be wrestling the first night, and on Saturday, we'll be wrestling that night as well. We'll be taking on the System in our ongoing this rivalry is so intense. We'll be battling these guys in our ongoing rivalry, and we're getting ready to go home for Bound for Glory. So this is going to be a big set of tapings because a lot of big stuff is going to be revealed and happen during these tapings.
I'm pretty sure on the TNA Plus app too, if you have that thing, you can even go back many moons ago and see myself and Matt spar with kangaroos.
You can, yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that, Matt. I've seen it like so many times. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you to everybody who watched, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you all.